This is Bob Sansevier. I'm here with Charlie Walters. He needs no introduction. And Pioneer Press Deputy Sports Editor. This guy needs an introduction. John Plume. Everybody that's listening, I'm sure, has heard or seen the Vikings game, what happened. Most people watched it. A lot of things went wrong in that game for them. The turnovers, the 12th man on the field. We could rehash that, but rather than do that, let's look ahead a little bit. Charlie, you've written in the last day or so about what happens if Favre doesn't come back. What do you think is the likeliest scenario? You mentioned Donovan McNabb could happen, Matt Hasselbeck, draft one. What do you see happening?
Well, John and I were talking this morning quite a bit about this, and if you go throughout the league, Bob, if you go throughout the league and look at all the rosters and potential quarterbacks available who are proven, all you've got is McNabb. You've got Hasselbeck, maybe, if Pete Carroll decides that he wants to start over with his team. Or maybe that kid at St. Louis, Bulger, that not the kid, but the guy. But other than that, I don't know who else you got. Then you've got the obvious relationship with Childers, who had McNabb for 8 years in Philadelphia. Andy Reid and him are pals. I know you wouldn't want to trade a guy within the NFC because they play, as John said before, Philadelphia outside next season. But other than that, I don't know what you've got. Maybe you can get a Tebow in the late round. They're going to pick number 30 in the draft. But those seem to me to be the only options, McNabb and Hasselbeck. And the other part about this, too, Bob, is that with Favre, you had immediate buzz in the league. You had a marquee guy, the national TV ratings were high, the networks picked up on it. Well, you go with Tavares Jackson, Sage Rosenfels, what do you got for buzz? Let alone what do you got on the field?
Let me ask you this question. Yes, they need a quarterback, but what they may need even more or as much is they could be decimated at cornerback. Antoine Winfield's foot was a problem all year. Now they got Cedric Griffin with a torn ACL. That could take him well beyond training camp, probably will. That's a year-long recovery. They need cornerbacks. They may need a middle linebacker if E.J. Henderson doesn't come back and they're not satisfied with Jasper Brinkley. Suddenly, this team that was on the cusp of being a Super Bowl team, there seems to be a lot more they need to work with. Also, Chester Taylor, they may wind up losing him. What do you see as the needs they need to address beyond the Favre situation, personnel-wise?
I mean, I think he started on the defensive side of the ball. You need to look at defensive tackle. Pat WIliams showed toward the end of the season he was worn down. He wasn't as effective. Cornerback, you're going to have to start there. Asher Allen was a great selection at number 3, but he kind of looked like he wasn't ready toward the end of that Saints game when the pressure was on in the overtime. And the Griffin injury, I mean, that's a 6 month to more than a year recovery.
6 months is optimistic.
Yes, for an ACL and the fact all the cutting that cornerbacks have to do covering wide receivers. So that has to be a priority. I like Brinkley in the middle. I think he's got a lot of potential. I think they could be fine there. I don't see E.J. Henderson actually playing at all next year for them. I think the other area of concern is they have to find a replacement for Anthony Herrera because he was downright dreadful the second half of the season.
All right, Charlie, let's circle back. I asked you who would replace him. Your gut feeling, does Favre go for one more year and play as a 41-year-old, or is he done? Is he absolutely done?
I'm baffled by this. I have no idea if he's coming back or not. John and I again were talking this morning that Wilf needs him. Ziggy Wilf needs this guy. Sometimes there's a conspiracy theory. Favre let some of his ESPN pals know yesterday or saying that it's highly unlikely I'm coming back.
Charlie, this time of the year, absolutely meaningless.
But he might that might be Cook's way of saying let's stay retired. However, Ziggy, for 16 or 17 mil, he might change his mind.
John,
another 3 or 4 million.
But my gut tells me if he's smart, why not come back and play? If you can get 17, 18 million,
I'll tell
make
you
another run.
He is smart, and if he comes back, and I think there's a chance he will not come back for a moment of training camp. He will come back when the season has begun or already begun because he will know he knows this offense. Yep. He knows these players. I wouldn't be surprised if they start the season without him, and then he comes riding in to save the day. This is Bob Sanson with Charlie, the Shooter Walters, and John, Never Shut Up Plume.